Hello and welcome to the channel. Let's get into the story. Let the celebrations begin. Well, this is because VAT increase has fallen. I repeat, VAT increase has fallen. Of course, this is a victory that the DA and the EFF celebrate, but they are also calling for Godogwane to step down. Let's take a look at the sentiments around this as we see that VAT will remain at 15%. A statement was released by Godogwane. We'll take a look at his spicy statement and also look at what are the sentiments of those that are calling for him to step down as the minister. Please give this video a thumbs up and let's take a look.
So guys, Godogwane, the Minister of Finance, made a U-turn on the 0.5 VAT tax levy. So angazi ukuthi on this one, who should we give the credit to? Because niyakhumbula ukuthi the ActionSA of Herman Mashaba yathi VAT angeke ikhuphuke. The EFF also took the VAT fiscal framework to court. The DA nayo celebrates it. No, Nazi, we also did the same. I'm not sure about the MKP now. They strongly rejected the 0.5%. Or should we give the credit to the ANC itself for saving the South Africans? I don't know. Who must we give credit to these guys? Because this surely shows Uguti. Definitely ANC, they wanted to settle this matter out of court with the DA. Because babonile ukuthi bazophatha ihloko engapheli.
Sathi masikhuluma sisho sithi EFF ne-DA deyodwa basebenzisana. Benza ngazuthi balwela iVAT ukuthi ingakhuphuki. Benza ngazuthi bayifake ebantwini balwela abantu abamnyama okanye abantu abahluphekile. Kanti i-strategy leso, i-victory le ebikade iveli ihleliwe. It's a staged victory. It's not really a fight. It's a staged episode. So lento lena ne-EFF ibanikeze upper hand kubantu because the big capitals they see which Umkhonto is going away with it in terms of his support on the ground. So bafuna wenze kahle Umkhonto angayijoyina the case ye-VAT because into vele ekhandiwe Godogwane nabo DA no Ramaphosa. So kahle kahle i-DA iya-legitimize ngoba iyona eyenze this particular case. In fact, in the first place, EFF ijoyinile base behlukaniselana nje ukuthi wena uzothila nale aspect thina sothila nale aspect and ingayijabulisi bantu bakithi leyo nto. It's a scam. Anything that has to do with the DA and the EFF is a bogus thing, must not be entertained. Is a fallacy of the highest order. Is staged, acting.
Well, there you have it. Obviously, people will be claiming this left, right, and center, especially those that voted against the VAT increase in National Assembly. And those that voted against it right now are getting dragged by South Africans. We see the DA coming through and celebrating this victory and even telling the country that the ANC called them to have a settlement out of court, meaning that the recent court case that started this week did have an influence in this decision. And the EFF, of course, they were not going to be silent about this. They are telling the world that these are the people that wanted to make South Africans poor by taking money out of their pockets. And they list all the different parties. You'll see them. I'll put them also here on screen.
Look, we've got problems with this report, and it was pushed through to Parliament. So at least on the face of it appears that ActionSA naively thought that its strict condition was going to get even the most basic time of day. It was never anybody's intention. When Mr. Molefe says it's 7:47, what are we adopting? Because the report has changed so many times and we haven't seen the report. The chair says, let's proceed. And he wants an adoption. It's literally pushed through. And what's quite extraordinary is that it didn't have to be. The speaker, your client, could have slowed the whole process down and said, let's make sure we're all on board. We've got a report. This is an issue of national importance to every single person in the country. Let's make sure we're not seen as pushing this through with undue haste, and that we've dealt with all of the concerns that have been raised. But that was not the approach taken. In fact, it was the contrary approach. And one has to ask why. Why is there such a reluctance to engage either with the strict condition or to have the minister consider other options? Why is this no taxation without representation consideration just given short shrift?
And I can't say anything beyond the fact that the ActionSA proposal, as it was sent to Parliament, is what was incorporated into the report. If the court is to find ultimately the report read as a whole doesn't meet the clear statement envisaged by 8.4 of the Money Bills Act, then I have to accept that that's the end of it in relation to those reports.
I think my sister raised an important issue also, that if not all members are on board, meaning not everyone understands what is being voted on at that point, and then it simply is adopted, does that not taint the process?
I think that's a particularly difficult issue in relation to politics. And I say that cautiously because if the court is to listen to that record, it's clearly a large part of it is around political posturing overall. And it does raise the question as to what is the appropriate threshold, the appropriate point at which a chairperson can say, I've formulated the correct question, I've asked it, I've put it to the vote. The committee has spoken and I'm carrying that. And I would submit, and certainly
that is one way of looking at it. There's also another way. In particular, if you have regard to all the questions that have been asked by the MKP, Mr. Brian Molefe, Mr. Burke, then it's Mr. Van Rooyen of the MKP again. So there was massive confusion. But why did the chair, as my learned sisters indicated, so adamant and eager to adopt this? For what possible reason?
Justice, I can't take it beyond referring the court to what I've said already.
South Africans, Lili Zelani, Angazi, whatever way that you use to celebrate. We know that Godogwane, the current Minister of Finance, did also put in his statement, I'll put it here on screen, where he then says that yes, the VAT increase has been reversed. Yes, but he made sure that he includes that this reversal will cause a shortfall in the budget in the billions. So I don't know if that was his way of scaring us or what. But what is to note is that this minister is definitely playing politics with the country's economy. And on top of this is that they are now saying in his statement, I'll put it here on screen, he is saying that he'll come back to the country in a couple of weeks. What do you mean? So you mean that you didn't have a plan B? Some things to note about Godogwane's term as the finance minister in South Africa is that it is definitely marred with a lot of irregularities, some of which were pointed out in the case that the DA and the EFF presented this week in court in the Western Cape High Courts. Yeah, so that case did put pressure on the ANC to reconsider. So here we are. This is the first minister that had the budget speech delayed. Second of all, he had initially had a higher increase for VAT than the 0.5. Imagine. What are your thoughts, guys, on the moves by Godogwane? Does it warrant a resignation? Not even a resignation, a firing. If Ramaphosa had the guts of Jacob Zuma to reshuffle, this was the opportunity to reshuffle Godogwane or make him deputy again and bring in at least Jonas. Jonas also has experience as a finance minister. Instead of going to the America where he is already a bad candidate because of what he had previously said about Trump, might as well bring him here in South Africa as the new finance minister. What are your thoughts? Who are the possible new names that can take over from Godogwane, who will now play cheap politics with the state of the country's progress in this very turbulent time in terms of local politics and geopolitics at large? Let's talk about it, guys. At the moment, South Africans are out there celebrating and breathing a sigh of relief from that 0.5 increase from all of their different service providers that had already issued out notices. So right now, it's back to 15% VAT. We'll see what he tables next. Please give this video a thumbs up and let's celebrate down below, please. And please give this video a thumbs up in support of this channel. Thank you so much for joining us on this video. Let's celebrate this win for all South Africans. Cheers. Bye. See you on the next one.